The Xbox Drive is fueled by patrons at patreon.com/YumiCapri. And I want to thank everybody who supports us over there, especially our Capremium producers like Dallas Ford, Drew Agnew, who I hope you'll subscribe to his podcast, The House of Mario, Jace Baldridge, who you should follow at twitch.tv/Baccaridge, Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team, and Jonathan Brown. And I hope you'll subscribe to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/GamingPurpleMonkey. Our platinum producers, Brian Scott and Trucker Sloth, and all of our gold members, Argo, Benji Kong, Brendan Myers, Dallas Robbins, Dano, Emily O'Kelly, Heather Boney, James Johnson, Joel Brooks, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, RJ Kern, Skinny Matt, and Xavier Reyes. Thank you, everybody, for all of your support. And if you want to contribute and support the show, go to patreon.com/YumiCapri. Now, on with the show. Hey, everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm in my car, and you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the man on the moose, and we're maybe already looking forward to Extra Life when we played a little bit of Scarlet Nexus, so jump on into the Xbox Drive. Bob!
Greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Hello, Ryan Turford. I'm blowing the lid off of it. We've got really no details, I don't think, to talk about. But I'm looking forward to Extra Life. Maybe some details to come. Maybe.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. But I'm excited about it right now. I played a new game. I'm really excited about that. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Besides, the crazy heat dome that's happening right now.
Of course.
Everything else is fine. Just
the world's on fire.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just sitting here, just sweating in my apartment. I'm sure that's the way everyone is right now.
Yep.
So it's all good. But enough about that. This is the Xbox Drive, the show where we talk about Xbox all the time, except for right now. Of course, let's clean the garage a little bit, Sean. If you like what we do, of course, you can subscribe to us right here on YouTube, youtube.com/the Xbox Drive. It's only YouTube once. I don't know why I pronounce things like that. Also, if you want to throw a little tip in the old tip jar, head on over to patreon.com/YumiCapri. You get this show early, as well as early access to all of our shows, as well as some exclusive content as well over at Patreon. So definitely give us a support there. If you have no bucks to toss, no problem. You can actually leave us a review on your podcast service of choice, or just rate us, because I know not every platform supports reviews. And Sean, I don't know if you knew this, but we have an Apple Podcast review today.
I didn't know that. I know nothing. I almost know nothing about today's show, to be honest with you, Ryan. I'm actually almost out of gas. I've got a low fuel warning, 27 kilometers until I'm done. I don't know how many kilometers I do in one of these shows, but we're going to find out, man. We're pushing it past the E today, dude.
Please don't run out of gas, Sean.
I could run out of gas.
All right, let's get into this Apple Podcast review. Of course, this comes to us from the Midnight Edition. And by the way, folks, if you leave a 5-star review for us on Apple Podcasts, we will read your review on the show. So the title of this review is Bawsome Podcast.
Yes.
I see what he did there. They say, there are no two other people in the world I would want to hear discuss everything Xbox.
Wow.
Not only do you get informative and incredible insight into games and the Xbox ecosystem as a whole, but you also get the best damn car puns on this side of the internet. Sean and Ryan are the best duo. Ryan is the perfect yin to Sean's yang. And did I mention car puns? I can't suggest this podcast enough. You have to listen to this one if you are a fan of Xbox games, cars, or McDonald's drive-thrus.
That's awesome. Wow. Holy cow. I don't even know who that is, but thank you so much for rating. Holy crap.
That was, in fact, a Bawsome review.
I give that review a 5 out of 5, That was pretty good. That was a well thought out review. So definitely.
Of course I wanted to read that one on the show. And again, you might have heard me emphasize a couple points. That's because, they used all caps for certain things.
Very nice. Yeah, as you should.
There you go. My God, my friend. All right, let's jump in to what we've been playing. Let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It's time for the playlist. Sean,
we did it.
I
think we did a thing, Ryan. I think this is a week where we played the same game together, but separately, individually on separate sides of the country. But we did it. We played a game called Scarlet Nexus.
Ooh,
and
yes.
Dude, I don't know if I'm far enough into it to really make a proclamation like this, but I am all in on this game, man. I am really liking it. What are how far are you? I'm only honestly, maybe 3 hours in. I'm very, very early in. I'm meeting all these different characters. Everybody is cute as hell. There's some sexual tension stuff happening. Also some combats for some weird enemies. It's anime up your ass. What are you thinking about it, my friend? Oh, do you want to drink? Do you want to drink?
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're okay. Hi there. Can I just get 2 large Diet Cokes, please? Sorry? 2 large Diet Cokes. Okay. That is all. Thanks. Ryan, what do you think about it?
I am actually not farther than you, Sean. I'm actually a little bit behind you because
what? How?
No, it's because real life kind of got in the way this week.
Fair.
So I actually haven't had a ton of time to play games this week, and the thing is with Scarlet Nexus, it's just I didn't want to start it until I had time to play it because if I only have maybe let's say an hour to half an hour to play a game, I don't want to start a new game when I do that, especially a game like Scarlet Nexus. So I was mostly filling that time with Final Fantasy 14 or the other game I'm going to talk about after Scarlet Nexus, which I didn't play too much. So I'm only 2 hours into the game, but I'm around the same area as you, where I'm kind of meeting all of the cadets and kind of learning about kind of this world and stuff. The one thing that really surprised me about this game after playing the demo was I didn't realize how much of an open world this game would end up actually being. Yeah. Because it seemed like it would be a very kind of linear experience.
More like a astral chain kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. But I was pleasantly surprised within the first 5 minutes of the game. You're in this cool futuristic Japanese city that almost kind of reminds me of the city, a more futuristic city version of the city from Attack on Titan, where there's a wall on the outside of it, kind of preventing all the monsters from coming in. Yep. So I thought that was really cool to be able to go and explore. And you basically go to this temple to start the game and you fight these monsters and stuff. It's really cool. The monsters are weird, like you kind of alluded to. They don't have heads. They have legs.
They
and
eat
they're
your
plants.
heads. They eat your brains. Yeah. They're very dangerous. I love the whole premise of this thing. You're kind of you're getting set up to be part of this, I don't know, kind of like an army. And it's a very scary kind of initiation that happens. Everybody's lined up and they kind of get stabbed by these weird wire things. They're invisible, but everybody's got these amazing powers. So the characters are all interacting and there's so much ego in this. It does remind me a little bit of Fire Emblem on that front, where there's so many characters, very, very individual characters that you know what they stand for and what they're going to do. I'm playing as Kasane, the female character in this game. I imagine you're doing the exact same.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Only because again, I not only do I usually play as the female characters, but I liked just from the demo, I liked her playstyle a little bit better than Yuito, who's the male character. Because I like kind of being more the ranged type of person when I'm doing combat.
Do you know if he's as just chill? She's very cold and calculated. She's keeping her emotions under control. She's watching over her smaller but older sister, which I am amazed at how often they will mention that. But yeah, I don't know if it's a cookie cutter for the male and female character. No,
he's a very different character.
Okay.
In fact, from what I've heard from people who've beaten the game, the two paths are actually fairly different. I think you go to the same areas and fight a lot of the same enemies. Yeah. But the story is actually different between the two characters.
Are they? They might even be trained by different. My sense is that he would actually be trained by another. I don't know, major or whatever. It seems like Kasane's been trained by Kyoka, if I'm getting the names correct, who is kind of a cutie, getting a little waifu action on with my Scarlet Nexus, so definitely enjoying that. But I mean, come on, that's the reason why half of us play these games. Let's be honest.
Of course,
this is not a typical Xbox experience, though, man. I feel like this is giving me. I mean, now it's on Xbox, Nier Automata vibes, very very open world and much deeper than I was expecting. This is this is an RPG-ass RPG, I would say.
No, it very much reminds me of the Tales games in a lot of ways, and it just makes sense because a lot of people that worked on this also worked on the Tales games. Yeah. So, from the open world exploration to the RPG elements, everything but the combat, because the combat just seems like a much more refined version of kind of the combat that we saw in Tales of Berseria. Yeah. It's a lot more free flow than something like that, but it feels very rooted in kind of the same, combat motifs as that game now.
Yeah, because you're kind of partnering with whoever is kind of joining you for that area of the game, and your powers kind of combine to give you some cool different effects, which I think is really interesting. I'm really trying to keep up with it, man, because this is the type of game that typically overwhelms me, but it's explaining it pretty well. It's definitely on the verbose side in a number of ways on the tutorials, but also in the world building and the character building and establishing like who everybody is. There's a lot of talk, but I gotta say, like I'm here for that. I am really, really liking it. Like I think the closest thing it is giving me that Fire Emblem feel. Like I said, like I'm liking these characters. They have character. They have they're very identifiable, and I'm enjoying their interactions with one another so far.
Not only that too, but when you kind of play Yuito's side, as far as I remember, and from what I've heard, you have like a completely different set of party members with a completely different set of powers available to you too. So it again just makes it feel like a fairly different experience when you play each side of it. So this is the type of game that almost makes you feel, it almost feels like you should play twice, essentially, to kind of see what happens at the end, which again, I'm sorry, Sean.
I never get to do that.
I know. Well, it's just like Fire Emblem, but again, that's another comparison to Fire Emblem, because that was one of the awesome things about Three Houses. It's just like it rewarded you for playing 3 times and kind of like seeing all 3 sides of the conflict.
Or Nier Automata with the different characters with the lead. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's not something that we typically get on Xbox. Are you playing it on Xbox? I don't think that I saw you playing on Xbox.
I'm actually playing on PlayStation.
I totally outed you. I didn't even need to do that.
No, you know why I did that? Because I wanted to save the tax. Because in Ontario, we don't have to pay tax until the end of the month.
That is hilarious, and that's a significant amount of money. Okay, very, very cool. Well, yeah, I played it on my Series X and my Series S. Both run really, really well. I'm just really happy with it. Just right out of the gates, this game has grabbed my attention. I'm in it. I understand the combat. It continues to evolve. I imagine that there'll be more to discover, more move sets and different combinations and things. There's a pretty interesting skill tree. Like, I will just say, like, I'm pretty high on this game. But I will say, for newcomers to the genre, you might be overwhelmed. Like, I was very surprised by the menu. Like, you're playing menus the game here. You know, there's levels and levels deep of menus here. Characters, the list goes on of things that you can explore in the menu. So I guess just be prepared for that, I would suppose.
For sure. And the nice thing too is, again, if you haven't really checked out too much coverage of this game, or if you're new to this type of game, there's a demo out right now on Xbox Live. So go play the demo and then see if it's for you. Because I think if you like the demo, you're probably going to like the full game. Because I mean, I think we both really liked the demo, or at least I know I did. And then playing the full game, I got a much more expanded version of what I saw in the demo, which again is awesome for me because I liked what I played there. So definitely check out that demo as well if you want to see if this game is for you. So Scarlet Nexus, really fun. I suspect we're going to talk about it over the next couple of weeks, so we should probably stop our conversation there. But Sean, I don't know if you played anything else this week, but I played one
Mario Golf
other
was
game
happening on Nintendo
this week. So I played Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis this week. So this, of course, is kind of the Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn like version of Phantasy Star Online 2, where they did this whole like rework of the entire world in Phantasy Star Online 2 and kind of basically tried to build the game from scratch. Because again, Phantasy Star Online 2 is an older game, even though it just came out on Xbox. It had been out since like 2013 in Japan. So it's an older game. So they need to kind of overhaul everything to, kind of continue developing the game from there. And Sean, I'm disappointed to say that as soon as I booted up this version of the game, the first thing it asks you is, hey, what graphics modes do you want? Do you want a favorite performance or favorite graphics, or kind of keep it balanced? So it's like, oh, I'll go favorite performance. Maybe it'll run at 60 frames per second.
Oh no.
I was lucky to maybe get it hit 30 frames per second in the beginning areas. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this game. So, it's
this is a full release. Like, is this like, because they did a weird beta before? Like, what's the story with this?
Yeah, no, it's the full release now. But I mean, it's going to get updated over time because it's an MMO, right? Okay. So, and it's a free to play game. So I mean, it's not like I paid for it or anything like that. But
like totally free to play, or it's Game Pass?
No, it's totally free to play.
Oh, nice! Wow, look at us like weebing out on this episode of the Xbox Drive. You know,
we're definitely a bunch of dorks here. That's for sure. So I basically ran through the first area because this time around, New Genesis is much more cinematic than the original version. So there's a bunch of story elements in there. Like the cutscenes and stuff actually look pretty cool, and they actually ran it at a fine frame rate. Even though the character models, when you are on the favor performance mode, do not look as good because you definitely can tell the graphical quality goes much farther down than you would expect. Especially with the game running as it is. So, Yikes. And then when I got into the kind of the opens areas, I maybe played the game for 10 minutes and I uninstalled it because I was really like, could not play the game like that. It was, even when it was running at 30 frames per second, it was very choppy. And again, with the visual elements the way it is, there's just so many better experiences out there that maybe I think it's just, maybe wait till this one gets patched a little bit. Cause I do think that the story itself seemed interesting. So I think that maybe when the game gets patched properly and it runs correctly on, because again, there's also not a Series X version of this. It's just running in back compat mode. So maybe that's what they need to do to, get this running correctly on Series X. But for now, I do not recommend installing this, especially because it's a big install too. It's like almost 100 gigs.
Well, and it's a big deal, isn't it? Like there's like people who know this, like you guys are looking forward to this sort of thing. It's kind of a big get for Xbox to make that splash, that Weeb splash, I think that Phil Spencer has been saying lately. That's what he said, right? Weeb splash?
Something like that. But it's more along the lines of I'm a big fan of MMOs. So whenever we get a new MMO on the console, I'm always down to trying it out. And again, I liked Phantasy Star Online, but once you get past the first like 10 or 20 hours, you kind of run out of stuff to do very quickly in that game. And that was kind of one of the things they wanted to fix with this version of the game, because they wanted to add a lot more story, a lot more things to do. So that's why I was excited for this release. And I've heard really good things about the PC version, because the PC version apparently runs great. From what I've heard. It's just really the console version that's, kind of in the state it's in.
Do you know if it's crossplay? Like, could I play with you? Well, I mean, if you're uninstalling it, then I guess you're not going to play.
I'm not going to, mainly because my PC can't run it. So there's no reason for me to continue to play it on consoles. So but like, at least until they fix it.
Do you know if it's crossplay? Like, I'm just wondering should I figure it out? Should I try to fire it up?
I'm pretty sure it's crossplay because I think that everyone logs into the same servers and plays with each other. In fact, actually, no, it definitely is. Because actually, I remember it coming up with a message at the beginning saying, hey, by the way, this is crossplay. And make sure you acknowledge that you saw the message. So there you go. Well, that's my thoughts on Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Again, I'm hoping it gets patched. And then as soon as I hear that it's patched and it's running correctly, or if they announce like a Series X version, I will be coming back and trying it.
Nice.
I've heard a lot of great things about the story and the gameplay once it's running correctly, but in the state it's in, I just can't do it.
Got to watch your concerts with everybody else, your virtual concerts, right? That's the big deal in that game.
That's true, but I can go do that in Limsa the Moisa in Final Fantasy 14.
What even are those words? What are you talking about?
It's one of the cities. So they added in that game, a little sidetrack real quick. They added a bunch of instruments that you can buy from the store, including electric guitars and violins and stuff. And then you can actually, and then it basically is kind of like the Ocarina controls in Ocarina of Time, where you can kind of press all the buttons and they'll do a bunch of all the different notes on the guitar or the violin, and so people just sit there and play like concerts of stuff they'll play themselves. Like you'll be walking around the city and someone will be playing Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force.
That is
just
hilarious.
a thing you can do in that game. All right, I'm slamming the brakes on this conversation, Sean. It's time for some breaking news. All right. Very slow news week once again this week. We don't really have too much to talk about, but let's start with Xbox Cloud Streaming is now officially out and about. It left beta yesterday, and it's officially live for everyone, pretty much, because there were still some restrictions as to what countries it was available in, or certain iPhone or Android devices it was available on. But it's basically out on everything that can essentially support the service. So you can definitely go out and celebrate the fact that xCloud is finally out. It's finally a real thing. In addition, they did announce some new accessories to go along with this, mostly different controllers. There's like a new version of the Backbone. There's a new Razer Kishi specifically for iOS, as well as a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So I have a link to all the announcements in the show notes. But I thought this was interesting to talk about, Sean, because we've been kind of talking about game streaming pretty much ever since I joined the show, and kind of being in this beta forever. And now it's finally out. It's finally officially a real thing. Everyone has access to it. You don't have to really sign up for it anymore. And it's just awesome to see that xCloud's kind of a big thing out in the wild.
First of all, I wanted to let you know I've pulled over at a church and I'm going to be just kind of hitting up Pokemon Go. And there's a Pokestop here. I'm just going to get some Pokeballs while I'm parked here. I also don't know if it's out of beta or if they're just opening it up to anybody to be part of it. But because I logged in and still saw like cloud gaming beta when I was on my PC, which I thought was interesting.
Well, I think it's only the mobile version that's considered out of beta.
Oh, that's interesting that they do mobile first over it's all web-based anyways.
Yeah. Especially because, again, just reading from the press release we got from Xbox about this, specifically names that it is those versions that are considered out of beta.
Yeah.
Like there's some beta terminology when you're at the loading screen still, but that's going to get removed pretty soon, according to some recent comments. So,
okay. Yeah.
The main
I'm
thing is it's out of
now.
beta officially. So, and this kind of plays into a question we got on last week's show asking us about game streaming. I keep calling it xCloud, but it's actually Game Pass streaming from Dano, who had asked whether or not we had tried it out because he had noticed it be a lot better.
Yeah.
So this might play into it a little bit now that it's officially out of beta. Maybe that's why it's playing a little bit better.
Well, I'm looking. I didn't actually look at the show notes, and I apologize, but I don't know if we've got it in here to talk about maybe the fact that they flipped the switch. It's Series X blades. Like that's what Dano was probably experiencing.
For not every game.
Well, it definitely works for Like a Dragon. Like it is noticeable. And the biggest thing, because the resolution isn't quite there yet, we're not getting 4K just yet, but it's the loading times is way, way better. Like I'm sitting here at this church. I kind of just figured I'd fire up a game of Yakuza, because it also has touch controls, by the way, which is excellent. And like it's noticeable. Like here's the Sega screens presented by Sega. Like this thing, it works, man. I continue to be impressed by this. And yeah, I'm like, they're just doing a really good job of, oh God, that's really loud. They're doing a good job of moving it through its paces. And like the milestones are really noticeable. Like I hit a button, like this is it's very responsive. I'm playing it literally right now. This is so cool.
My God. So yeah, as far as the server blades are concerned, I know Phil Spencer commented about this because he was being interviewed on Podcast Unlocked about this, that apparently the server blades are going to continue to be added to each game over the summer, but they're not live for every game yet. Yeah. And likewise, not every server blade for a specific game is Series X. So Yakuza, I think, is one of the first ones that's like fully transitioned over, but some of the ones that are available right now with the new server blades, sometimes you'll boot into it and it'll be a Series X server blade, and sometimes you'll boot into it and it'll still be a 1S server blade. Yeah. So it's not fully integrated yet, but that's supposed to finish over the summer. So as they work into it, it sounds like by the end of August, we can expect that pretty much every game will be Series X only, which I think is going to be really cool.
Yeah,
and then I think the next step after this point will be kind of bringing it to the console
One.
space. Yeah. And then so everyone will be able to play the next gen version of their games, or even next gen exclusives on their
and then on Nintendo Switch, Ryan.
Well, I don't know about that, Sean.
It has a browser, right? Every console has an internet browser. You can just use the internet browser on Nintendo Switch, right, Ryan?
That's saying that it could one day come to PlayStation 3, Sean, because the PlayStation 3
I don't think Nintendo Switch has a browser. I don't think it has a browser. That was the ruse.
Well, actually, I think it does. But
it's like somewhere deeper in. Like I think people have found it by data mining, but it's definitely not like an app you just download.
But I mean, the devs could probably take advantage of it, Sean. It's not like you can go to the browser.
That's what I mean.
You yourself.
Yeah, but it's in there. Anyways,
so congratulations, Xbox, on the release of Xbox Cloud streaming.
You did it.
And I know as we're going to start traveling soon, Sean, as we kind of alluded to at the beginning of the show, like this will be awesome maybe to take advantage of now that we're actually going to maybe, go outside and
use all my
be able to be
roaming.
going places some more. Yeah.
Well, and like very recently for me personally, like my cell phone, my plan is way better. Like I could actually like not be worried about the data implications. Although it's not unlimited, I kind of want to see like where I can push that to. You know what I mean? But it definitely, like I just loaded it up. People can see on the YouTube video, I was just playing Yakuza for a quick second. Lord knows I couldn't do that and talk to you at the same time because that would just be a nightmare and a disaster. But it totally works, man. So very, very cool. I want to maybe get one of those designed for Xbox, like the backbone or something like that. I think that might be the piece that I'm missing, because I don't know if the actual controller and the little claw thing, if that's the setup that I prefer. It always has felt kind of unbalanced. I might want to get my hands on that backbone son of a gun.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm glad that there's just a lot of options out there for people to try out, because
surprisingly.
And it seems there's going to be an option for you regardless of who you are out there. Because I like the 8-bit Do controller that I have that I actually reviewed on the channel.
Yep.
Because I like that it's lighter than kind of the big controller, like the normal controller, even though it still uses the claw. It's actually just super easy for me to attach it and kind of remove it. So yeah, I like that controller a lot.
Nice.
So next up, Doom Eternal's Xbox Series X and S versions are now live. It will support 1800p modes at either 120 frames per second or 60 frames per second with ray tracing at the same resolution. Also, there's a 4K 60 frames per second mode as well. So I saw Donnie Reese over the Xbox Empire firing it up, loving it. I had a chance to check this out as well, very briefly. Basically just playing through the first level. Just because I was just curious about this before the show came out. Obviously I don't have 120 frames TV, so I couldn't try out that version, but even trying it with like the 60 frames per second with ray tracing looks pretty awesome. But even just having it 4K 60, I think is incredible for this very beautiful game. And it now kind of puts it where the PC version is. So we're kind of finally on par with the PC version of the game. Sean, do you ever anticipate going back to Doom Eternal after this patch?
This is the thing that would get me to do it. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know that I would play the entire thing. I'm kind of loaded up on games right now, Ryan Turfer. And I think Scarlet Nexus is probably going to be like 400 hours, something stupid like that. Like, I have no idea. But I do want to try it. Donnie and I are similar like this, where we actually have the exact same TV and we like to test it out a little bit every once in a while. I put it through its paces. So I will definitely I actually have it downloaded, but I wanted to make sure I got through enough of Scarlet Nexus to be able to chat about it today. But yeah, Doom Eternal continues to be a showcase, and another reason why I'm really excited of that acquisition for id to be as part of the family. Like, let's merge those worlds together. That id Tech and Series X as like the hardware is a match made in heaven. So I want to try it out, dude.
Very nice, my friend. All right. Next up, we got a new game announcement from Remedy Entertainment. They actually signed a multi-game publishing agreement with 505 Games, who actually published Control, as well as a whole bunch of other games in the past. And they're going to be releasing a new Control multiplayer standalone title in the future, as well as a sequel to Control that will actually follow after this multiplayer standalone game. So if you like Control, folks, you're getting more of it. Apparently they're not going back to Alan Wake or doing a new IP. I'm guessing that this will come out after Crossfire X comes out, because we're still kind of waiting for a release date on that, because Remedy's kind of working on the campaign for that game. So I imagine the multiplayer standalone title probably won't come out until at least, late 2022, if not later. But I thought this was a really interesting story, because I actually really like Remedy, and I was really interested to see what they would do next, because they always have a lot of really unique ideas for some of their games. Even if Control wasn't a game that really grabbed me personally, I love to kind of see what they're doing next. And it sounds like they're just going all in on Control, which might not be the direction I hope that they're going for with this. But I know it's going to make a lot of people happy, because I know a lot of people really like that game. And I think you were kind of on a similar side with Control with me, right, Sean? I know that you played it but weren't super into it like you did. I know you didn't finish it, right?
No, I finished it, and I did like it. I think there's like this weird kind of gray zone between like maybe where you are and where other people are like game of the year, the greatest thing ever. Like I liked it. I thought I don't know if that like lands in somewhere like an 8 kind of thing. Like I thought it was a very, very good, if not like low great game. Like I thought it was very, very cool. I am surprised to see them lean into it, but I'm also surprised that the legs that this game has, like it just people keep talking about it, and people keep playing and keep buying it. So this is one of the things that I think people kind of wanted from Remedy for a while, is actually like, okay, like stick with one of your IPs. They're very creative over there, and they just kind of move on from one thing to the next. So I think that may be the thing that surprises me the most about this, is that they're kind of digging their heels in and building on the world that's been set here. And they could have done that with any of their previous IP that they developed as well. So, which would be Alan Wake and Quantum Break.
Yeah,
they all kind of rhyme.
They all kind of rhyme. They're also all kind of in the same universe, but not really. So
right. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Spoilers, maybe.
Spoilers, maybe. Well, no, they've always been very open about saying that all their games are kind of in the shared universe, but not really. Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested to see more about this. I'm more curious as to how Control multiplayer is going to work, but
yeah, could be cool. Like the powers are great. Like that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's why I'm like I'm curious about that one. I'm hoping it's awesome. So I guess we'll hear about that more in the next couple of years. But yeah, I'm excited to see more. And again, I'm excited to see Crossfire X whenever they feel about talking about that game again at some point. Maybe we'll see. All right. Last news update before we get into questions comes to us from Bloober Team. They announced in the middle of the night last night, Sean, this news went up at like 2 a.m, that they have now signed a new strategic partnership with Konami on a new game project. I wonder what this could be. Let's see. Bloober Team, known for making games like Silent Hill. It could be Contra, Sean. So a game studio that's known for making games like Silent Hill partners up with Konami, who owns Silent Hill.
What about Gradius? Is it going to be Gradius?
It could be Gradius. It could be Castlevania, Sean. It could be.
It could be Castlevania.
It could be Blades of Steel. You never know.
Give me Blades of Steel. Yes, Bloober Team Blades of Steel. The creepiest hockey game you ever played. Yeah, but no, for real. Silent Hill. Like, it's got to be Silent Hill, right?
It's got to be. Like, I don't see any way it could be anything else. I mean, you don't bring a team in that just released The Medium, which was an ode to Silent Hill, but without combat, in with Konami, who owns Silent Hill, and has been saying multiple times over the last year they're going to be re-releasing something to do with Silent Hill soon. So
I feel like the expectation for Silent Hill, and I don't know if this is Xbox or if this will end up on Xbox. I don't know. Was there Silent Hill on the original Xbox? Did it ever come over? Was that a thing?
Silent Hill 2. And every Silent Hill release other than Silent Hill 3 and 1 actually are on that Xbox.
Oh, okay.
So the first one we got was Silent Hill 2, Shattered Memories on the original Xbox.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Totally knew that. Totally. Yeah, I feel like the expectation for Silent Hill might be grander than what we've seen from Bloober Team in the past. That's the one thing that I will say on that. Like because I think The Medium, like you and I talked about this on this show. I really enjoyed it. It definitely had some of its shortcomings, and I feel like the expectation for Silent Hill is like more AAA than what we've seen from Bloober Team. Is maybe the only like hesitation I have on this.
Yeah, I'm hesitant as well, mainly because again the Medium itself, there was a lot to like about it, but I'm more hesitant because Bloober Team doesn't usually do combat in their games.
Yeah.
And when they do, any kind of action, it's never great.
Right. There's actually a shoe on the street. We haven't seen a shoe on the street in a long time, but there's one out there. I don't know what people are doing. It's 40 degrees outside. Who throws a shoe, honestly?
My God. So yeah, they've never really done action very well. And Silent Hill, even though it's not really like a heavy action game, there's a surprising amount of action in the previous Silent Hill games. So I'm curious to see how they're going to tackle that and how that's going to turn out. If it is Silent Hill, who knows? Maybe they've got something else for them, but it's probably Silent Hill.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah.
I'm interested to see more. Of some sort. Yeah. Like there could be a Silent Hill spinoff of some kind or a spinoff of another game series that's like, again, it could be like a Castlevania spinoff where it's like non-action and you're exploring Dracula's castle or something.
Like PT, like really what they were doing with PT, that was Silent Hill as well. Like that's something that they could do.
Yeah. Either way, we'll see.
I guess we'll find out.
But this news intrigues me because it sounds like Konami is getting much more into the gaming space. I know there was another thing that leaked this week that we're not going to talk about with Konami, but it sounds like they're trying to get their way back into gaming. So especially because they were supposed to be at E3 this year to announce a whole bunch of stuff,
right?
Too. And then they actually pulled out at the last minute. So and I think that maybe this announcement was going to be part of that. So. I don't know.
Or PlayStation's got a thing coming up as well. I'm sure you guys will be chatting about that on the PlayStation Drive. Could be a state of play coming up in the next couple of weeks here as well.
Possibly as well. All right, let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It's time for the carpool. We're going to start with Todd Oxtra at Toxtra, and he asks, after seeing Castlevania and The Witcher on Netflix, I think now is the time for great adaptations of video games. What Xbox properties would you like to see be made into TV/animated series? So Todd, I don't know if there's really many Xbox properties I personally would love to see, mainly because, honestly, we've seen some adaptations and they haven't really gone over well. And I personally don't really love watching a lot of video game adaptations. Like the only one I've really enjoyed so far is Castlevania. But I don't know how many would really work with this, like, good stories. I like one thing I did like was Halo Legends, which was this like Halo anime kind of compilation that they did a long time ago. I think it was before Halo 4 came out.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And I remember really liking some of those shorts, but seeing those kind of expanded into full series, I don't know if I would love that again. Like we've had like a Halo series before with like Halo Unto Dawn, and we know that they're currently working on a Halo series of some kind. So I think that might be okay. So other than Halo, honestly, there isn't really much under Microsoft's umbrella that I would love to see. But maybe it's just I'm not the right audience for that type of thing. So I'm going to defer to you on this one, Sean. What do you think about this question?
Give me, put Tim Schafer at the head of this and let him do anything. Let him do Grim Fandango. Let him do Full Throttle. Let him do anything in his old days. They can bring those to life in a TV series. I think would be absolutely amazing. And I'm glad he kind of went on for a little bit because I literally just thought of that in this split second. I'm like, wait. I think because most of the time, like what you were saying, like I'm kind of with you. I don't really want to see a whole bunch of that stuff, but I do think, oddly enough, it's not an organic Microsoft property, but it's more of like this is what they've purchased. And honestly, like you kind of just look across like Bethesda. I'd like to see like Fallout explored in a series. Like I think that would be really interesting as well. I do think that something like Skyrim has kind of been done and maybe brushes up too closely up against something like Game of Thrones or something like that. So that might be a little bit trickier, but there's a lot of really cool IP coming in from Bethesda. I don't know. I feel like, the other thing I was going to say, again, not really Microsoft Studios, but we're playing a lot of it thanks to Game Pass, is Yakuza. Give me all this, give me all that stuff. I think the Japanese flavored games, I think, probably translate best to TV. And oddly enough, Witcher is not that, but certainly Castlevania has that. And I think that's a huge reason why it carries over so well. It's just that anime flavor kind of carries over really nicely.
Yeah, and I think that if you're going to do like an adaptation of one of these shows, unless it's something like Elder Scrolls or something like that, most of them I don't think work very well in live action. Like most of them, the better ones anyways, are usually animated either with traditional animation or anime. Like, I don't know if you knew this, but Scarlet Nexus actually has a TV show.
I would watch that. Right, yes, I did know that, and I would love to watch that. Even Tango, Tango has The Evil Within, and I think that would be really terrifying. That would be really cool to see as a series as well. There's some stuff there. I think that Bethesda, like the IP there is really could be huge.
Now, real talk before we go on to the next question. Did you, speaking of Tim Schafer, did you ever check out the Custom Quest TV show, Sean?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing. Honestly, that was one of the least favorite of my of his. I think you and I are different on this though. I think you really like that.
No, I thought it was okay. Yeah. I didn't really love Custom Quest, but it's Tim Schafer property as a TV show, so that's why I brought that up. All right, next the question's from Dano. He asks, how often do you guys attempt to collect all achievements / trophies when you play games you enjoy? Is it something you gloss over and think about, or does it need to be the type of game you see yourself wanting to play multiple times? So, Dano, whenever I go into a game, any achievements I get along the way, I usually just grab. But if I usually don't go out of my way for achievements unless it's a game that I'm really enjoying or a game that I just want to play more of. And likewise, the games that have 1,000 gamer score are either the ones where it's just you play through the game and you get it automatically, like King Kong, for example, or ones that I've really enjoyed and enjoyed really going back and wanting to get the 1,000 gamer score, like the original Mass Effect, for example.
Ooh.
So I think there's situations where I like to, but it's generally like I don't usually like to full achievement score games that I'm not really like enjoying or anything like that. And I won't go and play like a game I won't enjoy simply because it's got an easy 1,000 gamer score, for example, because I don't care too much about it in that perspective. What about you, Sean?
Not anymore. I'm sure there was a point in time where many of us did that. I think I've got 1,000 gamer score on like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on 360. There's a couple in there, but I'm mostly with you. Like I things I won't do are like a second playthrough, generally speaking. But I really like. I think Outriders had a really good achievement list and trophy list that had me all almost at 1,000. I think I need like one more achievement, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it did seem kind of prohibitive. So I really like, especially in a game like that where it's just like you just go and fight stuff and you can kind of just turn your brain off and do that. Then if the game is incentivizing you to return to that and you're just comfortable in that space, you don't have anything else to move on to. Yeah, I will absolutely do that. But no, it's not anything that I'm really going out of my way for. But I don't know if the game has that's a really fine balance. There really is an art to that with achievement lists of making it incentivizing but not too easy, so you're still feeling like you're actually doing something. I don't know. I don't know if enough credit is given to a good old achievement list. We could maybe look at that when we review quote unquote some of the games that we play.
For sure. All right. Next up, Torrey Ham asks, well, what's a hidden gem on Game Pass that you think everyone should play? So, I mean, this is a good question. We've talked about this question a lot on the show.
Yeah, but there's new stuff. There's lots of new stuff now. This is a good question. It's maybe time. I'm going to pull over and pull up my app.
Sure. And I'm also looking at the app right now in case people are watching the video and wondering why I'm kind of looking down on my phone about this. I mean, clearly that's why talk to each other when we just text each other. So, obviously, as far as hidden gems, honestly, I think a lot of the best games on Game Pass, people already kind of know about.
Yeah.
I talked about it last week on the show, but or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but The Messenger leaving Game Pass is one that even though I know a lot of people know about as a quality game, I just don't think a lot of people have played that game.
Yep.
Or enough people played it. So I would definitely throw that up there. River City Girls is another one that I think is an incredible experience. That I remember seeing someone, I think Joseph was saying, from the trophy room that he was playing it for the first time this week and was loving it. Mm-hmm. So that's another one that maybe it's not really a hidden gem because again, a lot of people really like that game, but it's just, these are the type of games that I think just not enough people have really played.
Like, does Titanfall 2 count as a hidden gem? Like, that's something that
kind of.
Like, it's real, and it like because I think about hidden gems like this kind of buried in the EA Play selection. Man, Command and Conquer is here. I didn't know that. Yeah,
it's on the PC store.
That is
PC
awesome. Version. Okay, well that literally is a hidden gem for me. I just found it just a second. I also didn't mention at the top of the show, but I did just play a little bit of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, which is interesting. It's not a Forza, unfortunately, but I think Crosscode, maybe Ryan, maybe something that not a lot of people are talking about.
That one too.
Yep.
And so I would say those are kind of our picks. Again, there's not a lot hidden on there, but there's a lot of good games that maybe just fit into the category that are awesome, but not everyone got to play.
Dragon Quest Builders 2, dude. Like, holy crap, Prey is in here. Like, there's I don't even know. I don't know if this is helpful. If
there's
we just
too much
name
choice,
a bunch of games like Octopath Traveler, again, just kind of new there. Holy crap, man. What Game Pass? Oh, play Shadow of War. Holy crap, dude. This thing is amazing.
There's a lot of good games, Sean.
Like having this like another realization of how good freaking Game Pass is right now.
I feel like we need to do an entire show where we just read off all the Game Pass games and then talk about it, Sean.
Definitely. Yeah, we should do that.
All right. Last question before we go. And this one's a question more for me, Sean.
Play
but feel free to.
Okay, keep going.
This question's more for Ryan, but you can chime on this if you want.
I might just keep shouting out Game Pass games.
This one comes to us from Mike at BlazeKnight0923, and he asks, for Ryan, what are your thoughts on the Elder Scrolls Online? I tried it last night. I made a wood elf with a stealth-based class, picked up a bow, but I'm not really feeling it. Should I stick with it, or is this basically what the game is like for every class? So, Mike, the Elder Scrolls Online, I guess it kind of depends on what you didn't like about what you were playing, whether it was the combat or the story or anything else. As far as the combat is concerned, you'll get more skills kind of as you go throughout the experience, but it's not going to be much different than what you played in the first, hour or so with the game. It also just depends too on how long you kind of played the game for as well. Because you've only really got access to 4 classes in the game, and most of them are actually 2 of them are actually very similar to each other.
Yeah.
And so you don't really have a ton of variety in that game. And as far as the classes are concerned, so for the most part, I would look at it and think about kind of what you didn't like about it. If it's just the combat, it's not going to change as you go throughout the game. So I would say you're probably good to kind of put this down. If it's the story kind of being a little slow, and then maybe you not finding enough to do kind of early on in the game, it's an MMO. MMOs always usually start slowly, regardless if it's World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 or Elder Scrolls Online. Like, it's not, putting the pedal to the metal at the beginning. So if it's the slowness that's keeping you down, maybe play it for a little bit longer and kind of give it more of a chance. And I think maybe you'll like it. But otherwise, again, it just kind of depends on what you didn't like about it. But for me personally, I don't really love the Elder Scrolls Online, to be honest. I think it's a good game for people who really like Elder Scrolls and for people who like doing the side quests specifically in Elder Scrolls, because that's pretty much the whole game. Like there's a main story, I guess, but you're mostly just doing side quests and going around and doing stuff, or you're doing dungeon runs with a couple friends. If you've got a couple of friends together, there is some fun to be had. But for the most part, I personally don't really love Elder Scrolls Online. It's fine. It's fine. It exists. And there you go. That's my thoughts on the Elder Scrolls.
Scathing thoughts. Dead Space, also a hidden gem. Nier Automata, also a hidden gem. I don't know if Ori is a hidden gem. Pandemic, the board game. Maybe we're more comfortable playing something.
I was going to say that one's the most hidden gem of all the ones we mentioned. I think so.
Sean. I think that one actually might count. Psychonauts, also, actually, Psychonauts really is a hidden gem. Recore, they fixed it. Recore is very, very good as well. Knockout City. Well, is Knockout City here? Yeah, I think Knockout City is here.
It is. It's not a hidden gem, but we got to go.
Okay.
Before we go, Sean Plugs go.
We should do this show longer. You can find me on Twitter. It's my own fault. I ask for the show to be short. What are you asking me? Twitter.com/Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, like the pants. Twitch.tv/Sean Capri. Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays I'm streaming, and I would love for you guys to be there. I play with you. And if you like what we do here and you want to support our content, you can go to patreon.com/Yumi Capri.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. You also find us on Twitter at The Xbox Drive, on YouTube at youtube.com/The Xbox Drive, and on podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 196 of The Xbox Drive. Only 4 more episodes before 200. And we out. Bye.
I'm going to have to start thinking about what kind of guests we might have on for episode 200. I wonder if Phil Spencer will come on to our little old podcast, but we'll see about that. Probably not. I haven't even thought about asking him. He didn't even know about our Xbox podcast. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.